Hey guys, I'm here with the awesome team of I Got You Babe, which I completely fell in love with your film. One of the reasons I fell in love with it was because you think about war eras and families that come from that, whether it's the baby boom or the Vietnam era, and your film really opened my eyes to how a lot of families came to be and how some young women thought they were saving someone's life rather than going into a love relationship. So how did you begin with this? Because it's such a specific type of angle to go to from the Vietnam era.
I think I wrote and directed the film, and when I first found the story, I thought it was really fascinating to think of, what it would be like to have to make that decision, because I knew women were getting married to help their boyfriends or their friends avoid the front lines of Vietnam. And I think it's the idea of what would I have done if I had committed to a boy, whether I loved him or not, at 18, and then that's a life decision. One thing that was really interesting to me too is we have all the Vietnam War movies where you go out and you see the men going to war and coming back, and those are such important stories, but also what was going on back here during all of that and how people felt about the war, and also how it affected women, because women were in a place where it was right before women's rights really took off. So the impact here is a little different.
I love that. And you mentioned that you had a specific person that really helped to jumpstart her from her experience. What was it like meeting her? And that just sounds like a whirlwind experience that she had.
Yeah, it was, we got breakfast one day and she told me her story, and I knew right away she was the one that I wanted to make the story about. I don't know if you guys met her. She loves coming to the screenings, and she's very excited about
That's
all
my
of it.
Story.
Yeah. Oh no, she's all over Facebook telling everyone it's her story, and
I love it.
She's very excited. And one of the important things to me was, I feel like women then, and especially with Claudia, is this happened so quickly that you don't really have time to let your voice be heard. So it felt like an opportunity to share her story the way that she saw her story, that she couldn't necessarily share in 1965.
I love that. I love giving a voice. And for you guys, how I feel like you really captured the innocence of that time of the 60s. I love how clean cut and sweet. And what was it like kind of having to jump back in time to just capture the essence of both a carefree mentality, but also completely afraid for your life?
I think it was a discussion that we had with each member of the team separately. Even with David, one of our conversations was about making music that was upbeat, but also had these darker lyrics under it, which was a lot of when you listen to a bunch of Beatles songs and any of the inspirations you had, it really does that. And then even with you guys jumping into these characters, to remember that there's a lot going on, but it's still your teenagers. I don't know, do you want to speak about what it was like playing Dean?
Yeah, it was sort of that feeling. When you initially asked me to do it, or we I had an audition and everything, I thought it was 71 or something. I was like, I have long hair, it'll be perfect. You're like, no, it's clean cut, it's the 60s. Oh man. So I cut my hair.
Take the rebellion back a little bit.
Yeah, to pull it back. Yeah, but no, that was great. And just getting in being in the car and the clothes and everything, it's just it takes you back immediately. And I don't know, other than, I guess, it was just the environment itself really helped a lot. Yeah.
And I think Tori was our most innocent character.
Yeah, just a teenage girl, with her magazine, which was actually from 1965, and I was looking through all the pages and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I mean, I just loved the set and location and the wardrobe and everything. It was really cool to do a period piece because I hadn't done one before.
And we wanted that contrast too of she's going off and getting married, but you're staying home and you're still a kid, and so that's something that you hadn't been robbed of, but your older sister in the story had been.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you want to talk about music.
Yeah, I mean, I guess all of the songs that I wrote for the film kind of center around teenage love to some extent, but it's a little bit heavier themes the movie is dealing with, where you have this light, bubbly, these young characters that are full of life and think they have so much ahead of them, but then really there's a lot of commitment and forced commitment that is a little bit just weighing on the character heavier. So trying to tap into that feeling with the songs as well.
I totally felt that. Well, it was really great, and thank you for telling this story because it reminded me along the lines of, not to be too deep, but like Hidden Figures and how there's some stories about not just women, but just people that throughout history we're kind of used to seeing the same story. Like war, you're scared, you get drafted. Isn't that terrible? But you really opened our eyes to like, oh, I had no idea that over 100 people got married on the same day to try to save each other's life, and now we're stuck, and the expectation of kids, and like you really opened our eyes to something that I had no idea.
Well, thank you so
I
much.
had no
and
idea.
Thank you for enjoying the film.
I loved it. I loved
Thanks.
it. Please continue. Please do more. Please do more. And please tell me where I can find more of your work.
So all of my work I put on my website, ashtonavila.com. You can see I have a pilot out right now, and go watch that. It's called Two Roads. And anything else I'm doing, I keep all my updates there. I don't know
Awesome.
if you guys have places. You are making music for projects now and also are a director.
Yeah. I also have a website, david-bashford.com.
David
Has
Dash.
some music
There you
and
go.
some other things too.
Yeah.
Same.
Awesome.
ToriCaustic.com.
Great.
I don't have a website. I have an Instagram.
You on the gram?
Yeah. Find me on
You
the
really
gram.
have to look for him.
Oh, one of those.
I'm
One of
very bad at
those.
promoting
Which means
myself.
it's worth it.
If you need him, contact me.
Oh, there you go.
Please, yeah.
Different avenues. Well, thank you guys so much and really appreciate your film, and I hope you come back to Kapow next year.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.